Hello everyone, welcome to an awesome day of FileMaker training. I'm Richard Carlton here at fmtraining.tv. Hello everyone, welcome from the internet. We are here once again doing awesome live FileMaker training. Let me adjust my camera just a smidge there. Upcoming broadcast, some of you are watching the mayhem as I was here. If you go to fmtraining.tv, you can come up here. The live training tab right here is available, and you can see the upcoming broadcast schedule. So we had to call kind of an audible, as we say. Thursday was going to be Watson and Christian Olsen. We have changed it. We're going to be starting a conversation probably. I think it'll probably end up going down the road of Python and other things like that. But basically, it's extending FileMaker with other technologies. Leland Long, a couple weeks ago, was talking about using JavaScript, taking some calculations that you do in FileMaker, offloading them to JavaScript, right? And then having it do it and then bring the data back. And a lot of times outside technology can process things better, not only better, faster than FileMaker can, right? But you have to use like legitimate programming to do that. So it's not really kind of low code. This is definitely the pro code part of the conversation. So anyway, so today is a conversation with Jonathan Ray. We'll be getting that just momentarily. Tomorrow, Monkey Bread is here. Christian Schmidt is here. And then obviously Thursday is a little bit of an audible. And then Kyle Williams will be returning. Very exciting to have Kyle here. Very talented person. He will be here as a reminder. Very, very, very important. If you want to support the channel, you go to fmtraining.tv, right, which you can see right here. And we have these bundles right here. And if you buy the complete bundle, if you have the complete bundle, and someone said, well, what if my bundle, yesterday one of you said this, and I was nice about it, but what if my bundle expires? Do I still get all the extra benefits of all the things that come after the expiration? No. Once it expires, then you don't get any new amazing stuff. So January 10th, if you have a January 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, is going to be our intensive certification training. The button is now live. There's a video here you can watch where we talk about that. But these are the days, these are the times. They start at 11. This is parallel. This is a separate broadcast. It's not our free live training at 1 o'clock. That'll still be going on. It'll be on some other topic. But I will be doing the intensive certification training. It's going to be pretty intensive. I would be shocked if we get it done in a week. It'll probably run well into the following week would be my guess. I don't know, but I suspect that's the case. And this will all be recorded, so if you miss it, you can watch it. But what we're doing, we're taking Claris's curriculum, and based upon what we know about the way they ask the test, we can kind of guide the conversation. So we won't be, like, here's the exact question, these are the exact answers on the test. We're not doing that. What we will be doing is going through their recommended study guide, which is really surprisingly very honest and forthcoming. Like if you actually take their study guide and then take the test, you're like, wow, they really told you what was going to be on the test. But we can kind of fine tune that even more, right? And so that's partly what we're going to do. We're going to go through that guide, and we're going to, and along the way, we're going to say, hey, here's a flashcard you need to make. You need to commit this to memory. So unless you have a photographic memory, you need to memorize it, put it on a flashcard. I don't want to do that. Okay, well then maybe you don't want to be certified, right? There's some things you have to commit to memory. Rote memorization is part of the game that people play. But as a result, you'll be much better for it, much more skilled. So this is a special event. Make sure you renew your complete bundle. And for those of you, there's some people out there that say, I don't want the training. I just want to go to your certification stuff. Okay, fine. We will have a special price that you can buy it there. It will be suspiciously the same price that you would pay for the bundle right here, right? So, but if you don't want the other training and you don't want the copy of FileMaker, then just buy the special event. Okay, so let's talk about today. Today is going to be so awesome. So what I'm doing is I'm looking for my broadcast person right here. So Jonathan Ray, there he is. There's his smiling face. There's Jay. Welcome, Jay. Smiling face. Jonathan is awesome. He's one of our senior engineers. He's always come up with some new tricks and tips. And it's useful to have different people present. It helps them understand what the kind of questions you get. You ask me, it helps them refine their conversation. But Jonathan deals with customers all the time, and he comes up with some new techniques and tricks, things that I haven't seen, and that's kind of what today's about. So, Jay, what are we kind of doing today? What's the backstory on this? What are we doing?
Yeah, so this is going to be a demo to demo a common user interface experience that users kind of expect with an application, and that is an edit, save, and cancel user interface. By default, FileMaker, I mean, that's not the way FileMaker works, and so we're going to show you how FileMaker works by default and how to actually do this edit, save, cancel thing with a demo file. And I think you'll be surprised at how easy it is to do this. And it's definitely a lean design type of deal here today. So FileMaker has a rollback feature. It is a subtle rollback feature, but it's one that has existed since at least FileMaker 7. All right. And so the idea is that you click a button, and then it comes up with a window like this where you can do your edits, okay, and hit cancel or save. The idea is that if you hit cancel, it will roll back any changes that you just made here. And if you hit save, then it will commit the change that you've made. And then this screen that you're looking at is a view-only screen. If I click on any of these fields here, I'm not going to be able to edit it. And that is a common user interface that users just kind of expect. You know, this is the type of thing you'll see on a phone, you know, or a lot of other applications out there. And so if you want to accommodate users and build this type of thing in, then this is the demo. By default, and I just made another layout here, this is what FileMaker gives you by default. You come into a layout, you click in a field, and you make some changes, right? And then there is no save button by default. You click somewhere off the screen to commit the record. And for a lot of users in the past couple of years, it seems like it really confuses them. They're like, well, where's the save button? You know, I don't know if I actually saved the changes to the record or not. And so developers have come up with different ways to build this this edit, save, cancel way of saving and rolling back changes. There are a couple example files out there that you'll find, but I think it overcomplicates the matter a little bit, and I think you'll be shocked at how easy this rollback feature is. Let me show it to you just in action first, and then we're going to pop the hood, okay? So if I change this first name to something like Richard Carlton, or let me do Richard and Carlton, like that, okay? And then let's say I even try to click somewhere off the, out of the field here. You'll see it kind of looks like it saved it in the background until I hit cancel. Oh man, what just happened? This is the okay, let me do something to it. That's so funny. I sent Margaret the working copy, and this is not the working copy.
Okay, you want Margaret to give you the file back? A different file?
Awesome.
Send you a link for the own download. Give me a second.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We are good to go. Okay,
right.
So here's the demo here. So if I am clicking the edit button, and I come here and I change the name, and I click off, it looks like I committed the record. I hit cancel, and it reverts it back. All right. So that's the idea. And then if I come here and I want to actually do a real change, and I hit save, then it saves it. So here is the trick. We're going to pop the hood now and look at a couple scripts. This is all it is. One, the edit record script simply pops the new window. Okay, that's this button right here. And that's as simple as you can get. It just pops a card style window. The save button does this. It comes here and sets a global variable called save commit to 1. then commits the record, then closes the window. The cancel button reverts the record and closes the window. And I'll show you how all of this ties together when I debug the script. But you can see these are very simple scripts so far. And then we have a on record commit script trigger on that card style window. And depending on what button they clicked on, the user clicked on, it will either allow the commit to happen or not. All right, so that might be confusing. We'll put this together right now. I'm going to open up a new window and go to the actual edit window here. Okay, so these fields that I'm looking at, they are editable in browse and find mode. Okay, whereas the window behind us, none of these fields are editable at all. Okay, you can just look at them. If I come here and click this little pencil icon, this is where you can set up your script triggers. Okay, so we have one script trigger set, and that is on record commit. And what this does is, before the record is committed, when the user attempts to commit the record, then the script fires. All right, so it is a pre-process.
I was going to say a pre-process versus a post-process.
Yep, and this is very, very critical, that this is a pre-process. So before the commit happens, you can run a process and decide if you actually want to let the user commit it or not. Okay, and so this is what that does. All right, now I'm going to close this, and we're going to run through it with the script debugger on and show you how this works. Okay, I'm going to first click the edit. And again, all that does is pull up my card style window, allowing us to edit this record. Okay, you'll notice when I try to commit the record, what happens on the script debugger. So let's just change this here. Richard Carlton. And you can see that when I went to the next field, it changed it in the background. All right, so it kind of looks like it saved the change, but it's not saved right now. All right, and then let's say I try to commit the record by clicking somewhere off the screen. Watch what happens. Now, that script trigger, when I just clicked over here outside of the field, the script trigger on record commit fired. The record is still not committed at this point. It's still not saved, right? This script fires, and it says right here, if save commit equals 1, okay, I'll pull up the data viewer, and you can see there is no variable at all. There's nothing at all here. So because there is no save commit even in existence, it's going to fail that test, okay? And then here's the critical step here. If this variable does not equal 1, then it halts. And what halt means is that it refuses to commit the record, all right? So it goes else, halt. So no matter how many times I click off the screen, off the field here, somewhere in this gray area, it will fire this script every time and halt it dead in its tracks. Every single time. I can do it 100 times and it will not save the record. It's still in limbo right now.
That's clever use of on commit to keep someone from clicking into the gray space around the edge. I guess Nick has probably done that before, but I don't remember it. That's very clever, Jay.
Yeah, it's super simple, and you don't get any weird beeps, or, I mean, the user doesn't know that the record isn't saved yet. They're seeing it change in the background, but it's all done like that. And then what happens is when I click cancel, watch this. These are the two simple scripts here. Cancel comes over here, and then this is the rollback feature that I was mentioning before. And it's as old as at least FileMaker 7. And it takes any changes that you just did, even changes to, say, portal records, and you can create new portal records, via a relationship. That's an advanced technique. You can do that, but you can create, say, 20 records, and it will still not save it until you commit. So this revert record will revert all of those changes that you just made. Okay, now we're back to Joe Smith here, and then it closes the window. You see?
Yep. Peter Geens asked a question. Halt script stops executing all. Can I use exit script false to prevent the commit but execute further scripts?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
For me, halt is just a very clear indicator.
Yeah.
I know exactly what it's going to do, and the exit script is just not as clear. I'm pretty sure that it'll work, though.
Yeah, the exit script is going to exit that script, but it doesn't halt the chain, and it's going to exit out to a subscript if there was a subscript, right? You follow what I'm saying? So, so understand these are all, this topic is very, I don't believe revert is on the certification test, but everything else here is on the certification test. I'm just pointing this out. The understanding that the script trigger is a pre or post. You need to have your script triggers loosely memorized, the high traffic script triggers, whether they execute before, whether they allow things to execute before or after, and how you cancel them, right? So Kyle Williams has said, yes, exit script 0 or exit script false should work fine. It's one of those things you need to play with. But yeah, it's a good. Then Stu had a question. This technique uses a second layout for editing. Could you use variables to hide and show? Yeah. You could use, you'd use global. Okay, could you use variables to hide, show fields, merge fields all in one layout? No, you could. You could do it on one layout. It's just about personal preference and style, Stu, on which way you do that. If you keep stacking things on top of each other, you have one layout that's a little bit more unwieldy. But yeah, you could totally have this as an object. The problem is that you have this auto shading around the edges here, so you'd have to decide how you want to do that. With the card style, you just build this as a layout, and then it centers it, and then you get the shading here for free. That's a no extra effort, kind of a free feature. But yeah, you could totally build this with layers of invisibility, right? Or build it with a slide control, right? Except that with a slide control, it has real data in here. You'd have to kind of fuzz things out a little bit because the data wouldn't necessarily be accurate. Or it could be. It's just a dozen different ways to do it. You'd want to try it. If you're playing with WebDirect, my gut tells me on this that with WebDirect, you're going to have certain techniques that'll be more performant. Also probably with Go to a degree, but Pro really is by far the fastest. Then Go pretty close, and then with WebDirect, you'd want to try a couple different ways of doing it. Which way is the fastest way? There'll be a better way to do it there. With Pro, it's going to do it either way, probably just fine, right? Would be my guess. Kyle says, in the past, I've used global fields for an edit layout, but I like this approach as well. Yeah. 6 and 1/2 does another. Once again, on these live streams, it's important to show you an alternate way of doing things, maybe a handy way. The one thing I like about this, and so we're not going to talk about Nick behind his back. I love Nick. But when Nick builds a sample file, Nick never builds anything this simple or basic. Nick's got, it's like the HAL 9000 sample file, right? With artificial intelligence and everything else. He's got a lot of stuff, right? And so it's good, you learn a lot, but if you want a very narrow, simple sample file, this one is immediately easier to understand, if that makes any sense. So, yeah. So, all right, Jay, you can keep motoring along.
All right, so the final thing on here is this save button and how this works. And if I hit this, let's stop. We actually want to make a change first, okay? So let's do Richard Carlton, okay? And then we're going to hit save. And then the only thing that we haven't seen yet in the demo is this button. So this set variable, this global variable, is going to equal 1. And you see this over here, the save commit. And this is just my name. You could name it whatever you want. It doesn't matter. And then you see here, after it sets the variable, then it does a commit records, thus triggering the on-record commit. Okay, so commit records now triggers that that script that's tied to this card style window layout, and then it will actually pass this test because save commit now does equal 1 over here. Okay, so it passed the test, and now it clears out the variable because we don't want it to remain at 1. We want it to reset. Okay, so now there is no variable, and then it exits the script with no result at all. It's just a plain old exit script, and then it closes the window. And now we have a saved record like we wanted. And that's basically the entire thing. And like what Richard was saying here, this is a super simple setup. Some other demos that I've seen, they might just not have thought of using this the script trigger setup in combination with the revert records script step. And I saw all sorts of things, like this edit button would, when it popped up, it would save all of these fields and their values as JSON, and then it would store it in a global variable. And if you hit cancel, then it looped through every single field and set the original values and all of this stuff. And I'm sure that's possible and that it works. But this is just far simpler when we're just talking about a basic script trigger, revert records, and commit, and a combination of that. And that's it.
Yeah, once again, more of a basic kind of conversation. I like it. I think there's great value, and one of the best things as a trainer, and Jonathan does a lot of training, instructing, and public speaking, and that is to take complex topics and boil them down to something very, very simple.
And what I can demo too, I can actually build this on the fly, is to show you that you can revert changes with new records created via a portal, and that's sometimes very helpful as well. Do we want to demo that, or?
Yeah, go ahead, because that to me is more confusing. Because if you create a record that's in a portal, it seems to
this
me
is kind of neat.
It seems that it's not. So what you're saying is it's pre-commit is what we're doing. It's pre-commit. Mm-hmm. So you've created the record. It's locally on your client, but it's not real. It's not official, right? Until you commit it to the server or commit it to the local file. So yeah. So.
Okay, so we're going to do this.
I'm zoomed in over here, so there we go.
We'll do something like well, okay. 1 second. Maybe contact.
Oh, you're going to be officially.
That'll work.
Okay,
yeah.
There we go.
Okay. And then what we'll do here, so here's my parent file, okay? And here's my child file. And I'm going to click on here, and this is critical. Allow creation of records in this table via this relationship, okay? And then we'll come here, we'll create a real quick portal. Okay, there's only one relationship there. And then let's just name the something like primary key contact, and that's fine there, just so we know it's created. Okay, so that's that. We don't want this to be able to be entered at all. And then we'll take the same thing and put it on the edit window.
On the card, right? So.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. And then let's put this down here. Okay. It's not pretty, but that's fine. Okay. And we are going to activate this. Where is that? Over here. Okay. I think that is it. Okay. And let's create like a little test field too. Okay, I'm just going to create something like test. So I think I will need that. I'm just creating this on the fly here, so bear with me.
No, I think it's good. Everyone's watching you. Why do you need a global variable Because that's a good question, David. So the local variable ceases to exist when that script exits, right? So let me.
Exactly.
So that's the thing with so if you wanted to use a local variable, you'd have to stuff it into a script result, and because remember, a script parameter is a note that you hand forward with a script you call script and tell it to run. A script result is the same kind of note, but it goes backwards as the script's kind of shut down, backwards through the call stack, as we say. So, but remember the local. This is a test question on the again certification test. Is a good one. Is if you have a script, a dollar or something, and equals Fred, and then that script exits, and the previous script is there. What is the value of dollar Fred? Dollar Fred doesn't exist. Dollar Fred exists in perpetuity until you zero it or cancel it or close the file, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay, so
all right. Well, let's see this in action.
We're gonna demo this, and we're gonna ask. Then Lynn has got a question, really good question.
Sure.
So a couple Lynn questions. So yeah. Go.
So we're editing this record now, and as you can see, there's no portals here.
Okay.
And we're just going to type in a couple values here. One. And is it going to let me? And then I hit save. Okay. So let me create one. Now let's see if it doesn't like that, does it? Let's see what the problem is.
Yeah, I don't know how far many of those you can do, right? Without it kind of...
Okay. Active. Yep.
Because I'm not a big revert guy. I'm not a big revert guy, so they're outside my wheelhouse on this a little bit. The field needs to be centered vertically in the port. The field needs to be centered vertically in the portal row. Is what Kyle just said. I don't know.
Let's see.
It wasn't actually in there all the way.
Oh yeah. Okay, I think that's it.
Kyle. Okay,
that's
sorry. Kyle, that'll be plus 10 points to Ravenclaw for your house there at Hogwarts. Good job. 10 points for your.
All right.
There we go.
So let's type in like Bob and then Doug and Susie. Okay, we're just typing it just for the sake of creating records. Okay.
Okay.
So we have 3 brand new records we just created, but again, they're in limbo. They're not saved. When I hit cancel, they're all gone.
Yeah, I like that. So let's cover a couple things. So everyone freeze. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go to layout mode for me on that card for me, Jay, real quick.
Yep.
We're going to cover a couple basic low-hanging. It's more of a basic day a little bit, which is fine. Go to layout. Yeah, show me that. And layout mode. And then now click on... can you click click on a field right here? Just click the field there for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's the rub right here, and this is kind of hard to see. Don't move, Jay. I'm zoomed in super. If you have fields that are in a list or a portal, right, because this thing keeps repeating. It keeps repeating down the thing. If the field isn't centered in here correctly, it's too far up this way or too far off this way, you're going to get unexpected results. Basically, it'll show up on the first line, but it won't show up on any other lines. And so your object here has to be, and Kyle correctly identified the answer to this, has to be clearly within this area. So Jay's was like a little too high. In fact, Jay, move it up a couple pixels to where it's on top. That one, yeah, pick one field like that. There we go. And go back to, I'm going to zoom back out. If you want to go back to browse mode, show us what this looks like. So then if you go to the next, click probably there, you could probably go to the next one. And then.
But you can't go to this one over here.
Because so it makes it on the first, but it doesn't make it on another one. This used to be a test question on certification. I think this question got pulled. But if you're doing a lot of development, you'll run into that. That's a good one. Okay, so Lynn had a couple questions, 2 questions. Lynn says, does revert affect any of the modified fields? It unwinds them, right, Lynn? If revert undoes them, it reverses the modifications and puts them back to the way they originally were, right?
Exactly.
Is that clear? So does revert affect? I think that's what we're talking about, right? So we have a field, And so this is like what we're looking at. Go ahead and close this window just for now, Jay,
Mhm.
for a moment.
Yep.
So what we have here, this is the state of the data as it's saved on the server on the hard drive. If we edit, if we say we can't really do it here, but if you click on here, this is the same data. These are the same fields. These aren't globals. If we click in here and we start editing, the data is on. Go ahead and make some changes here. Don't do anything else. The data is changed here in this local session on this computer, but this data has not been saved. It's not been committed to the hard drive, either to the hard drive or to the server, wherever the database lives, right? It's a local file, so it commits it to the local drive file over here. It hasn't done that yet. We have to click out to commit, except that he's got a script that intercepts that, right? So that's the first question. Then Lynn says, what happens when you make a change, number 1, 2, you want to cancel but lose power before you cancel? The commit wasn't, I guess you could force quit it, right? Force quit it. So here we have an edit. Put some more stuff in here. Richard, yo, put some more stuff in here. And then force quit your FileMaker file. We'll simulate a power failure. Hey, let me zoom out. We're force quitting FileMaker, which you should never do if it's a local file, because normally now we have to throw the file away, but we're gonna when this is over, we're gonna throw it away anyway. Go ahead and open up our file. Is this it right here?
Yeah, FileMaker's firing up here. One sec.
And then it should not have committed the change. The change was never written. It's gone, right? So.
Yeah, the one on the desktop there is the bad one.
Yeah, but it double click. It should still open unless they crashed it, right?
Here it is.
Yeah, okay, it didn't save the change,
and
right?
It didn't save it. Yep.
But the file has been crashed. So what happens if the file is okay? Back up. Let's cover some basics. I had to simulate something that was unsavory. If the file's on the server and you run this, it's safe to do what we did. Okay. If the file is local on your computer, we have potentially damaged this file. We need to take this file and throw it away and restore from a backup, right? I can't say that enough. We have whole chapters and sections in our book about please don't use backup files that have been, or use files that have been crashed. Go to a backup. That's why we always put this stuff on a server, except today where we know we're going to throw the file away, right? It's great, really good questions. Len, those are excellent questions, right? Understand that, Jay, can you go to help, FileMaker help, and because this is another test question. If you folks want to pass your certification test, be there at the training January 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. We're going to go through this stuff. But if you go to the FileMaker help, do open record request. Okay, so it's just try open record as a script step. And it spins. Here, okay, hit that. This is on the test. So makes an existing record or find available for editing. Okay. If the user has editing record privilege. So what this does, it locks the record, right? So let me see. Let me zoom down a little bit. All right. Or you can, actually I'm zoomed all the way. What does it say? The script makes an existing record available when performed on a record. The script that verifies the record has sufficient access privilege to edit. If the record has proper FileMaker attempts to prevent others from simultaneously editing and deleting the record. Once locked, see, this is kind of bad writing here. What this should say, if the user has proper privileges, FileMaker attempts to lock the record. Once locked, it is considered to be open. So the word open and locked are synonymous in the world of FileMaker. Locked is an engineering term. You can tell an engineer wrote this part of it right here. Open is like the marketing department got loose and said, oh, we're going to open the record, right? So the idea is that it's locked. Listen, vast majority of us are going to work with files that are on a server. So having a local, it's never really an issue with a local file. How could you, and I say this, but I don't want you guys to answer the question, but how would a local person edit, run into themselves? So it's doable, but generally you're trying to edit one record at one time. A local user on a local file is never going to have the problem. I know there's exceptions to that. Just let that go. Just everyone bear with me. But on a server solution, this locking issue comes up. This is on the test, this open record request. So it attempts to check to see if you can get in, then it locks it. So when you're editing a record, back to Jay, if you want to go back to your file, sample file, go ahead and click edit. So we're on the record, but you have it. You can see the record, but it's not locked. It's not open, which means that someone else could be on another file, log into it, and suddenly all this data could change, right? Because someone else edited it right in front of you. Now, if you click in here, here's another test question. If I click in there, is the record locked or open? No. You can click it. This is a change from FileMaker 6 to 7 if you're a real old school person. Clicking in there does not lock the record. Attempting to edit it, space, typing, anything, initiates that right there. Now it's locked. It will stay locked until you execute the commit. Once you execute the commit, that's saving Lynn. This is saving the data to the hard drive, saving it to server. It's committed. It's official. Anything prior to that, you can revert it or unwind it, or your FileMaker crashes, people lose data. Someone says, oh, I put all this data in and it's gone. The line from school, the dog ate my homework. Johnny, where's your homework? The dog ate my homework, teacher, right? The dog ate my data, right? FileMaker server ate my data. It's one of those rare cases where that can happen. Someone edits a bunch of stuff, then they walk away, it sleeps, the internet goes out. It never commits. It never commits. And so as a developer, you have to watch for this to make sure people know to save their stuff, right? Lynn says, does a portal relationship need to have the set option to allow delete records? The data, okay, so here, so Lynn, I understand the question. Let me go along here. Jay, we're going to help out. So Jay, go ahead and try this again. Go ahead and do this again.
You want me to do the delete thing on there to?
No, I'm going to hit it a different way. So we're here. So this is a snapshot of the data that's behind, so it's snapped. Now we're going to click in and start editing the data, which means we've established a lock on it. Now we're going to add a record down here. Okay. Add a record. Okay. That record you see it on screen, but it's not saved yet. It doesn't exist. It's not real. It's a super important concept. The edit that I did up here is not real yet. See the difference between that and down here? It's not real yet. It's not official yet. It's not official until we save it, we commit it to the hard drive. And so if it's not real yet, there's nothing to delete. We've started the process of creating a related record, right? We've started a process of creating a related record, but until we save it, it's not official. And if it's not official, you can't delete it. Does that make sense? So I understand what you're saying, because it looks like we have a record and we need to delete it. But that's not what's happening. We haven't got that far yet. It has to be fully saved to the drive or to the server, to the local before. So if we say save here, okay, then it's saved. Let me back out. This is a really good question. Jay, can we duplicate this layout and make it editable, make the fields editable for us in here so we don't have to jump to your thing? And then, these are merges in here. Yeah, just make these editable right here. Okay. So go back to browse mode.
And you want me to put maybe the first and last name or something?
If you want, real quick. Those are merge fields up there, which can never ever be editable. But if we put a regular field, once again, this is just for demonstration purposes. This is such an important concept here. So if we go to browse mode, forget Jay's dog and pony show. If we click up here right now and type Jonathan, right? The record is it's open, i.e. locked. It's open to us. It's a terminology in FileMaker, but it's locked. Other people can see the data. They cannot edit it. But as a result, it being locked, it's not been saved yet. It's not saved yet. So if I tab, I don't know, if I click in there, go ahead and click in there, is it still, I don't think it's saved yet or committed. Click down here again and see if we can create a new, can we create a new record? Go ahead and create a new record, right? So go ahead and just put anything in. So hold for a second. So right now, it hasn't been saved yet. It has not been saved. So there's nothing to, even though it looks like we have a new record down here, it's not been saved to drive. If I click out over here anywhere, it's going to save it.
Right.
Right? That's the rub. That's that old process. That's what we're trying to not show is this process of save. That's the old school FileMaker way of doing it, right? So you hit revert right here. Revert, It reverts this, and it got rid of that what looked like that record there. They were never saved, so it undid. Basically, like it's your copy of FileMaker is proposing changes. These are the proposed changes. And then if you commit it, you agree that you're going to do the changes. But these
that's a good way of putting it.
proposed changes, no, I don't like the proposed changes. Unwind. And the revert is the unwind on it. Does that make sense, Lynn? Such a great question. Such a basic question. And I'm glad you're asking the questions because there's a lot of us here. We get trapped into like warp the world of, and I'm not picking on Kyle because Kyle and Nick and these guys, they're very, very advanced, but sometimes we have basic people here on the live stream and it's not at all obvious what's going on. And when you ask the question, I love that because it means that we're connecting with brand new people, more or less, maybe using FileMaker for 20 years, but this is kind of like a fundamental concept, right? So,
all right, so watch this. This is neat too. Okay. If we put a little delete icon here, all right, and we do allow deletion, okay. Now watch this. We can come here and, Susie, Jose, Joe, okay, it looks like they're saved. You can also delete an item, and all of these things are still not saved. Even this delete.
That is that's just okay. Well, I had Lynn straightened out. Now you just screwed him completely up with that. So because now you're deleting proposed changes, right? So
it gets complex really quick.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I'm just trying to keep it simple. So yeah, sorry about that. You can edit the edit. Brutterman, excellent point. You can edit the edits, right? Which is what we're editing the proposed changes, right? Because until it commits, they're proposed, they're not official, right? So you can edit or delete. The revert just blows them all out, right? Revert is like unwind everything. But then he just did a selective unwind, a selective revert. Not even a real term, but that's what that is. So, all right, cool. Well, that's how to take a basic topic and make it infinitely more complicated. Question earlier from Ruben, I guess we missed it. How about rolling back new records being made and automatically incrementing serial numbers? Are they reverted to? So go to, Ruben should know this. Ruben, are you throwing me a softball? Go to field definitions, Jay. This is actually on the certification test too, this one.
To a serial number field because there isn't one created right now.
Yeah,
okay.
Go ahead and do that, and then show. Bring that over here. Yeah, move it. Oh, yeah, window. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah, let's move.
There we go. All right, so now it's centered up. So here's the rub. There you go. Which way do you want it, right? So on creation is on when you create your proposed edit, right? We're editing. We're creating the proposed edits, and this is before the commit. This is on the commit. It'll actually generate it. I believe that's how that works. Yeah, so right there. So that was, Peter had me there right there. I'm just showing what Peter's saying. Yep. Like anything else, there's like 100 different ways of solving this. Probably not 100, but at least any given time in FileMaker, mostly there's a dozen different ways of doing it. So pretty interesting. Lynn, any other questions there? Mr. Lynn?
I'll add this, that this whole rollback feature, though we're just looking at it in a very limited fashion, and we got kind of cute with it with this portal, but just this limited fashion, you can take it to more than what we just demoed. Literally, you could create 1 million records, but until you commit the record, until you hit commit, once you hit revert, it will destroy those 1 million records you just created.
So let me talk about this real quick. So this is an interesting kind of subtopic right here. So this is now kind of a Kyle conversation. So FileMaker historically is not what we call a transaction model solution. I know they've been playing with some transactional stuff in the product. I don't know where that's at relative to their FileMaker 20 release, but as you edit, say you're putting this together and you do this stuff and then you add a portal here and you do this other stuff and you script a bunch of stuff to do, FileMaker is frequently committing along the way and saving along the way. So you're creating an order. Say, for example, a financial order, like someone's going to order, like say that Kyle's going to set up a Bitcoin exchange. He's going to sell Bitcoins, and so he comes over. He says Rick Carlton is going to buy Bitcoin, and he's going to buy a 1/100th of a Bitcoin for $50,000 or whatever he's going to buy, and then he's going to use this money, whatever. And so this is this transaction. And in FileMaker, you're filling it out, tabbing, maybe clicking out, so it's saving bits and pieces, and then out of the blue, FileMaker crash goes out or the internet goes out, and so you have half of an order. Well, there's no such thing really in the financial world as half of a financial order. It's either all or nothing. And so we get into this conversation where Todd Geist and some of these people have done conversations about a transaction model. And this whole idea of revert and commit, what they'll do is they'll come in here, they'll start putting data in here, and then they'll have a parent relationship, maybe a child, grandchild. They have multiple portals in here. You may not even see all this stuff, but what they're doing is they're loading all the data into these items, and then if everything is correct, right, at any point before we get to the end where they run the single commit, if the FileMaker crashes, nothing is saved. That whole order goes away. So you don't have a half an order, an incomplete order. So the transaction model is that you build it all up, and you press the button once, and it pushes that block of data through to the FileMaker server, and it's saved on one pass. So you have a complete document that can never be partially incomplete. It's this transaction model, right? So this kind of revert hack goes, there's some crazy stuff that you can do with it. I'm not really big on that, but I train my customers that if FileMaker crashes, go back and check your last data for the last, say, 30 minutes or something to make sure all your stuff's in there. But if they want to pay the extra money for you, it's like doing an audit log. People say, I want an audit log. I want an audit log on everything to tell me what everything's doing. And so then a project that was, say, $30,000 becomes $50,000 because $30,000 to write the basic system and $50,000 to write this super intensive audit logging system that's going to be super anal and dig into every little piece, right? And they're like, oh, I don't want to pay $50,000. I only want to pay $30,000, so I don't need the audit log. Well, transaction modeling is like that. People say, I want transactions, but I don't want to pay for them. So because they don't want to pay for them, they mostly don't use them unless you have a very serious financial business, banky kind of Kyle's Bitcoin exchange, right? Kyle, right? So anyway, pretty interesting. Oregon Dean's asking about record IDs. We're going to make this the last question, and then we're going to answer that. So Jay, a record ID, familiar with the record ID? Those are hidden primary keys, right? Effectively. So
this really confusing looking string is called a UUID.
Yeah, but we're talking about the record ID. Yeah, so it's different.
Yep.
Yeah. So what I need to do is,
I'm thinking he might be referring to this, but using the term record ID.
No. I think he's meaning.
Okay.
Oregon Dean's more of he's a brain surgeon or cardiac surgeon, some sort of surgeon. Okay. And so, why don't we go in and define a get function for these two tables? Let's call
it record ID,
and then it'll be I guess an auto enter, right? Auto enter get record ID. Okay, do that one, then do it also on the other table. Do both tables because I think we'll demo this through.
Okay.
On the portal, you mostly have to demo it on the portal.
Okay.
Because the other one's always created, right? So did you put it in both places?
Yes.
Okay, good. I did that really fast, so let's put that over there. It's a good question. I think I know the answer. I think it's the record IDs will not be are not created until on commit, but.
And let's put the record ID over here.
Yes, so that's the record ID that belongs to the parent. This is the record ID for the child. This will never be a factor because we're already working on a record that's existing, right? So let's go ahead and did you put it on the edit one too? Is that what you did?
Yes.
You have to. We need to create a couple new. Just create a couple. Okay, create a new record here, and then because it's.
You know what I can do is I can replace with.
Do that ID. So they're all up to date. Get record place. There we go.
Okay.
So everyone understands record ID is the basically an intrinsic value that FileMaker assigns to every record. It's just like its own little private primary key. It used to be that these were always there and you could never see them, but now you have access to them. But you can't edit them. You can't change them at all. Zero, right?
Let's do this one just real quick too.
Yeah, I do that one too, so we have them. So, and they're a sequential creation of, numbers in their system, right? The numbers in the FileMaker. And the only way to reset them is to clone the FileMaker file. So if you delete a bunch. So yeah, here you go. So this is record one. Ooh, maybe it is doing it. That's good question. All right, so let's go ahead and edit now. So we got, let's just go ahead and do a regular one. Add a new one here so we know what the next number is going to be.
Okay.
And then say save the change. Go ahead and save it. We're going to commit. That's fine. So the next number is 10. Okay. I think I think I had that guess wrong. Okay. Go ahead and edit. Create a couple more with bogus stuff. And then go ahead and hit cancel. Now
Okay.
do it again. The next one should be 11 if it didn't use create it. No, I had it wrong.
Wow.
Argentine. So as you're creating these imaginary records, it's using record IDs, and if you revert them, it just deletes them out of existence. And so you're like, well, how do I go back and reset it? You don't reset it. It's not something you control. It's a hidden thing. FileMaker only shows it to us because some probably Christian Schmidt and Jesse Barnum and a bunch of plugin developers said we need access to this, right? But we almost never use it, and the only way to reset it is to clone the file. When you clone the file, it'll reset every table has a number like this, and it resets it to 0. So that's a clone.
Yeah. Now, this is different than, say, an auto-enter serial number that increments by 1. That we can change and we can reset.
Yeah.
But this record number
it's an auto-enter serial number that increments by 1 that you cannot change, and it activates even if it's not committed. It's a virtual session in memory. Wow. That's good. I did not know that. So record ID counts even when not saved. Yes, Dave and Angel. That's what we just proved. Because we just created a new one here. It should have been 11, but 11 and 12 were on the other screen. They were on the other screen.
Yeah, go figure.
In fact, actually, go back and can you put that field on the on your edit screen? Put it on your edit.
Which field?
Pop over the record ID field.
Oh, okay.
Put it there real quick. So yeah, so we just blew Lynn's brain just exploded. We want to apologize. I have to have Clarice apologize here. So we apologize for making a very simple topic complicated. So we do apologize for that. So, but yes.
The good news is that the sample file is still very simple.
The sample file is very simple. So yeah, so go ahead and create edit down. So we go ahead and put a new one. Oh wait, yeah, we have to. There we go.
Here we go.
There we go.
Okay.
Now we're going to do the next one. Just type something. There we go, Fred.
Okay. And then
go to the next. Go to the next one down. It should auto enter.
Okay.
Yeah, see. Yeah, it's putting them in there, and then put Jim, right? And
then let's delete one.
And then yeah. Now go ahead and hit cancel, right? And if we go back and edit again, the next one, if we click in there and do the next one, it's going to be 17, right?
Boom.
Yeah. FileMaker need to listen. The reason these are in there because FileMaker, even though it hasn't saved it to the hard drive, it still has records it has to track in RAM memory. Their HBAM file format and all that kind of stuff has to have ways of tracking this stuff. The Draco engine has to have a way of tracking it. So this is their internal way of tracking. Even if you decide to revert and not save it, it had to have it has to have its own hidden secret primary key to track stuff. Remember, every object has an ID number. Like every object has a hidden ID number. Objects, fields, layouts have hidden ID numbers. There's a hidden ID number for everything. That's why you can rename a field or rename a script and it doesn't break the solution because the system is not using the name you gave it. It's using a hidden ID, right? A hidden ID. The records have hidden IDs, a field has. So this is probably this address 1 is probably field number 42 or something or whatever it is. And so when you change it to Billy Bob Thornton, all the scripts still work, right? Because it doesn't care about the name. It cares about the fact that it's going to send data to field 42.
Yeah, and I think that Monkey Bread actually puts a show IDs. Does it do it? No? Oh, I thought it did. Oh, there it is. How cool, huh?
There it is. There's the field
You
IDs
can
right
see
there.
The internal ID numbers
There you
that
go.
it's using. Yeah.
Yeah. But another reason to buy Monkey Spread. Monkey Spread's good stuff. We like Monkey Spread. All right. Dave Ames says when the parent is locked, the portal records are locked. It doesn't auto lock everything. I don't believe so. Right?
No. But you can have multiple records.
You'd have to step into
actually,
the children to lock them and then open them. You have to step into the field, and then you either edit the field or run that open script step. Right. So go GTRR,
like right now,
open. Right. Yeah. So.
Right. So like right now, the parent is open, and then this child is open, and then this child is open. We have 3 records that are locked right now because none of them are saved. 1, 2, and 3. All of these are locked until we either cancel or save, until a commit happens, basically.
You're going to do this for years, probably some of you, and you get to the point you're like, I can't believe, like, I've never really done the revert stuff too much, just because it's like, right? But a lot of very successful, big-time professional developers love the revert command, right? There you go. So that's it for today. We'll catch you tomorrow. Awesome. Monkey Bread. See ya. Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir!